Hello, everyone.
Hello, how we doing, everybody? Welcome to Unfiltered. Here we are, Sarah.
Welcome to Unfiltered. And what can I say? I'm excited, very excited for our first episode
Together.
Yeah. Sarah.
And Mark.
We're going to keep this really unfiltered. And, this is there are a couple of episodes already before this one where we share basically our personal stories and why we decided to move on, change our business, like closing down our Instagram account and really closing the old to invite the new. But now we want to share with you our story, a little bit about Mark and Sarah, and because it's connected with Unfiltered and our mission together.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, I felt like we sort of dipped our toes in to the introduction of what we've been through, but it's almost like we've been shocking a lot of people because we've been moving at a really fast speed. And now it's time to actually let you guys know, why we actually are the place that we are, why we made these decisions and where we're headed and what Unfiltered really means for us. So the best way to start this would be at the very start, wouldn't it?
Which one is the very start? It's something that I want to say and set the tone of the entire podcast. Basically, we are going to really tell the truth and speak up and say also what we believe, what we through our experience, what we have experiencing, and what we believe to be true, but mostly what we believe that you need as well in order to really step in your power, because that's what Unfiltered it is an invitation to be you, an invitation to stop hiding, an invitation to stop play small, an invitation to leave everything, every situation or person or relationship that kept you very small for a very long time. And that you are experiencing that when something feels off. Whatever is a business, whatever is a relationship or a marriage or your body, doesn't really matter what it is, it feels off. It feels that something is missing. And that feeling that you have inside of yourself is telling you something. And that's why we decided to start all of this, to help people and help people like you to find the courage to take the first step and break free from that. And after that, it's a beautiful ride.
I love that. And something that's come up for me recently is expanding your consciousness into love, coming back into love. And I feel like that is really my journey of actually giving that love to myself that I felt like I didn't have, that I didn't feel like I was worthy of, that I was lacking. And this self-imposed guilt, that caused this suffering, realizing it's all in a journey and an embodiment of back into you. And you have the power to change your life. And when you start to look at your life like that, you are, the director, the main character, and all of the characters in your own movie, when you start to move from that space and give yourself that love, realizing that everything else outside of you, your business, relationships, everything else is just a reflection of how you truly feel about yourself. So I feel like that's definitely out from our experience, and that's what we want to pass on as well. You can have it all if you really do feel into, the worthiness that you already are. And that's a process, that's a journey, and that's how we can help you expand your consciousness back into love. That's what we're doing with Unfiltered. And for me, that was what it was. It was a journey of self-discovery, of learning to love myself. Right. And that started all through childhood. I was a young kid growing up in the country, and I felt like from growing up with two brothers, an older brother and a younger brother, and my parents and stuff like that, I felt like my experience was I was always needing to fill up the room, fill up space, make sure everyone's okay. So I was very empathetic. I was very feeling orientated, but I was never safe in my own reality. I was never safe with my own comfort or confidence in myself. That was never instilled in me because my experience was I didn't have that confidence. And so I would look outside of myself for validation. I would look outside of myself for acceptance, right? And so I was very vulnerable. It was very easily for me to express my truth, but at the same time, I was very people-pleasy. I was very outside orientated to make sure my safety and security came from validation from other people. Do you love me? Can you hear me? Can you feel me? Will you accept me? Rather than having that confidence in myself, in my own frame, I was always moving outside of myself, And from that experience growing up in a small country town, it moved into my romantic partners too. So like a couple of my romantic partners that I had, I was growing up in Kalgoorlie. It was a small country town, and both of those partners moved to the big city for university, and they both like broke up with me. And then the first person they kissed, they ended up going out with. And that was my repeating pattern around love and relationships and romantic relationships, which all tied back to my self-belief, this belief that I'm not enough, I'm not worthy, and, I'm not good enough, right? And that's what I started to unpack on my journey growing up as well, like of self-discovery, getting into self-development, learning more about the self and learning more about, what do I want, starting to create the dream that I desire and all of these things, these beautiful things. It led me to this journey of self-discovery of how I can love myself and how I can fill myself up with love. And then that's how I can experience, a beautiful loving connection outside in the external, right? And it's all connected. What we've discovered is how you feel about yourself is connected to your self-worth, connected to the relationships, connected to your business, to your income. It all ties back to this journey of self-discovery. So that was like, in a nutshell, a small experience of what I went through, in a 2 or 3 minute experience. But from that journey of self-discovery, that's actually how I was introduced to Sarah as well. Sarah.
Hi.
Yeah. So I guess I can start with that, and then we'll go into Sarah's experience and we'll just expand on that. So for you, Sarah,
because we have a very different experience,
Yeah.
like how we attract each other, but it's the same. Like we were doing the same work at the same time, without, of course, knowing that we were in each other's life already. And I think it's beautiful for so many reasons to share that. And we may unpack this later. So
yeah, keep going. I just need to turn the air conditioner on. I feel really hot.
Okay. And, Mark was focusing like a lot on himself. And I was doing exactly the same. But, what I found very beautiful through our story and our experience, that Mark was already in my life. Okay. And I was doing the work, trusting that he will come, he will show up at the right time, when it was the right time. So I was basically doing the same thing every day, and trusting that this man will show up in my life when the time was right. But he was already in my life because Mark was my client for a year. And so we were connecting basically every day already, but there was no attraction there between us because we were not in the right frequency. We were not ready for each other, and we were both like working on ourselves and claiming ourselves, breaking free from our past relationship before actually being able to be together. But you, Mark, may want to keep going first because if not, I don't stop.
Yeah, I love that because it's like it's like, so we're in each other's lives, but we weren't like on the same frequency.
Yeah.
So, and that's what life could be like for you. Like you could have everything. Yeah, it's already here. It's just you're not open to it.
Yeah.
Like you're blind to it because you've got these like blinkers on, like these blinding little things. Like if you think about a horse when it's racing, and it puts like these little blinders things around its eyes, so it can only focus on like a certain level, like a certain like line of sight. And for us, that's exactly what it was. Like we're only focused on, what was in front of us. But as you start to do the inner work, you start to expand your consciousness and you start to open yourself up to incredible possibilities, like a romantic relationship, like a soulmate frequency, like whatever it is, like even for my lifestyle. Yeah, money completely changing.
Bad business. Like, whatever you desire is, and Mark and I's story is, I think until now has been our biggest quantum leap in our personal life, and it's connected, of course, with our business and everything that we are experiencing right now. And that's why we want to share the story, because that's how we decided to start working with frequency, timeline, and quantum leaping concept. With you gonna learn all of these along the podcast, because when you hear quantum leap, people start to feel like fluffiness. Nah, like quantum leaping is really like choosing you and doing the thing. The thing that you say every day that you're going to do, but that you never do it. You say that you're going to do a live, you're going to start a podcast, you're going to start YouTube, but you never do it. I'm going to break up with this person because this person is not right for me, but then you always stay there and you are not doing it. Or I'm going to start at the gym, I'm going to start eat healthy, and then you never do it. Like, that's what I mean. That's what the quantum leap is. It's actually doing it. It's actually choosing it. And for the first time, you start to take action towards that. That's what quantum leap concept is. It's not like something fluffy or something abstract that people feel like, oh, the universe like moving something and, magic happen. It's not like that. It's you showing up for yourself every day. I was showing up every day to find this man.
Yeah. And you weren't even thinking about me.
Nah.
In that process, you're showing up for yourself. Like, how can I be that version that already has that which I desire, that I want? And that's important to acknowledge, because a lot of the stuff out there might teach you, how do I show up a certain way in order for me to attract that thing into my life?
Especially in relationship.
Yeah, but that's actually back to front, because what you're doing is then you're putting on a mask on yourself, and you're going to attract someone into your life that is not actually in resonance with who you are. It's like putting on a perfume, and attracting someone from your smell, but that's not your original smell. That's not who you are. And so that's what we uncovered through doing these steps. Like for Sarah, the frequency work. For me, it was the healing of the feeling the love within myself. So last year, I went through an incredible transformation. I was with a partner that wasn't right for me, and our values and beliefs were butting heads. We were on different path. But I was people pleasing. I was bending over backwards. I was thinking about my girls. I was thinking about, other people ahead of my own values and beliefs. And my own happiness, right? And how was I to know my own happiness when I didn't truly know myself? When I was just continually looking outside of myself for validation, looking outside of myself for acceptance, until I sat in stillness. So for a big part of that for me was going through meditation, going through this awakening program in 2021, becoming an awakening coach. There was a massive journey which was all headed towards meditating and just giving that time to myself, to me to ask those questions. What do I want? What do I want in this life? What do I want to choose? Who do I want to surround myself with? And what do I want to embody?
More, you want to share like your declaration when you wanted to attract me,
Yeah.
and then what did happen? And you have to tell that, because
I have
that's
to tell the full story.
A very
Yeah.
beautiful story.
Yeah. So,
Like the way that you did it is powerful and is really connected with everything that we just said until now. And we're going to dive deep into this along the podcast, and we're going to share with you frequency, timeline, quantum leaping, and be ready, because there is an entire world that Mark and I didn't know that were exist until now. But you want to tell that part.
yeah. So
Because it's really cool.
Okay. So it all stemmed from like 2024, and I was in this experience where I was in an open relationship and I was going against my values and beliefs. However, I still allowed that scenario. So for the first 4 months, I was going through the pain side of it, I wasn't experiencing, the pleasure side of the open relationship. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm just saying, for me, it's not my values and beliefs. It's not for me. It's not for everyone.
No.
Right. And going through that process, there was a lot of pain for the first 4 months. I was in the experience of just on the other side of it, where, my partner at the time was going out and having relationships with other men. And I was allowing that. I was staying at home and I was actually allowing that. So dealing with that and trying to coach myself through that process, trying to put on my awakening hat and look through my limiting beliefs and, what's wrong with me, and coach myself through that, even though it was my body that was expressing to me the pain that I was feeling inside of like, this is not who I am. This is out of alignment for who I am.
You say something really powerful here, and I want to highlight that because so many people I know can relate with that. You know that I'm always doing it.
Here we go.
Here we go. When it feels like that you have to coach yourself, it's not right for you. When it feels hard and it feels like that you have to convince yourself and talk yourself through that, wherever it is, business idea, business partnership, relationship, doesn't matter, you name it, is not right for you. It has to feel effortless. It has to be easy. You don't really even need to think about it. It just happens. You just do it. It just feels good. It feels exciting. We didn't have to think about it doing this episode today. We just turned the microphone on.
Yeah.
And started to do it. And that's it. And that's how we did it, But if you have to coach yourself like Mark did in his experience, that's a perfect example of something is not right for you. Here, you are out of alignment because it shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't coach yourself. You shouldn't talk yourself through something in order to make it work.
Yeah, and that's coming back to the body. Like from that start of 2021 awakening program, meditation, feeling into the body, that's when I started to become more aware of, feeling into my body and realizing like, oh, this doesn't feel right. And like I said at the start, when I was a people pleaser, going through that experience, through my childhood, I would be out of my body and I'd be into, I could feel so deeply what other people are feeling because I was looking for validation. I was looking for acceptance outside of my own body. So how could I know how I was going to feel? Because I was never in my body. I was always in the habit of being outside, looking at other people. So now transitioning into coming back into my body and feeling that and realizing now I'm out of alignment. That was like a red flag for me. There was a lot leading up to that, but the first 4 months of last year, I was going through that, coaching myself, all that stuff. And then I reached a point where I asked myself, it was literally one question to the universe. And I said, if I'm going to experience the pain of all of this, open relationship, then I want to experience the pleasure side too. And so I opened myself up to if I'm going to, meet someone, I want to meet someone on the mental, the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual level. And I set that intention out. And then I kept just, acting in faith. I kept just knowing that like there's something out there that's guiding me, even though I don't know what the fuck is going on right now. I know that there's a deeper meaning to all of this. And just that intention and just letting go of it, not holding on to it like, and writing it down, journaling every day. And this is what I need to focus on. This is what I need to feel. Like, because a lot of stuff does that. And there's beauty in certain aspects to that. But for me, it was just a pure intention coming from my heart, coming from my body and knowing that this is what I want. This is what I want to experience. This is what I'm worthy of. Because at the same time, I was doing this open heart meditation all of March and half of April from this guy, Aaron Doherty, the spiritual dude out of the States. And through
Thank you, Aaron.
Yeah, thank you very much. Because through that, it tuned me back into my heart and allowed me to feel the love that I wasn't feeling for myself. And then that intention led me to finding Sarah on that level, on that physical level.
There we are.
Yeah, and here we are.
After a couple of weeks, I messaged you.
Yeah. You want to talk to me about that experience?
Well, what do you want me to share?
Well, so at the same time, I was going through this experience, the start of the year. What were you moving through? Because it was a big year for you, Sarah.
Yeah, like, something that I want to try to bring my own experience, but also giving you like a little bit of an hint of the work that Mark and I gonna share with you along Unfiltered podcast, and also of course in our courses, in our services as well, to help you quantum leap in your life, business, in every area of your life. I was like, the reason why we bring in the attention into relationships so much is not just because our relationship is the core of Unfiltered, is really the nest of everything. And we're going to talk about this later in the podcast. And why is that? Because the relationship that you have romantically, it's literally the core and the reflection of your self-worth. And if something is off there, I can guarantee you that something is off in your money situation. And if you look at your bank account right now, and doesn't matter how much money you have, because it's not about the money, it's not about how much you have in your bank account, it's about how you feel about that. You can have $1 million and be very unhappy. You can have $0 and still, of course, be unhappy, but you can also be a very happy person with zero in your bank account if you are in alignment, and then money come in after that, right? So it's not about the money you have in your bank account, but that it's a reflection of your self-worth. So if your bank account doesn't look good, I am like 99% sure that something is not working in your romantic relationship. It's clear. Like, it's something that we have experienced personally, but also that I learned in a mastermind I was enrolled, and that's where everything started. Like 1.5 years ago, I did enroll in this mastermind, which was to scale my business. I mean, I'm sure so many can relate. I want to go from multi-six-figure to my first $1 million. And I started this mastermind. They were talking about scaling without working crazy hours, being ease and flow. I love that. Okay, I want that, jumping on, and of course, expected strategy. Expected like, okay, give me the steps. Yeah. I'm a step person. Give me the step and I'll do it and I execute them. So I started the first day of the mastermind. I was like the only one not making already millions of dollars in the business. So I felt very uncomfortable. Like usually I'm speaking a lot in the mastermind. I was very quiet because I felt really uncomfortable to be around successful people like that and maybe the only one having a multi six-figure online business. And I remember that everybody say, you start to ask the question, and the mastermind basically works. I don't know if you haven't been in a mastermind before, but the mastermind is about you telling the problem, and the people in the mastermind give you value, which is massive because you get to pick the brain of so many different people. So it's like accelerating your growth 10x. So I basically started to say, my business is not growing from here. I'm doing all the things. I'm following the steps. I'm invested $200K in the business. And I remember this man, oh my goodness, is stopping me and say, stop there. Like this, stop there. Your problem is not the strategy. Your problem is your relationship. I was so pissed off, like really pissed off. I remember saying, what are you saying? What were you talking about? Your problem is your relationship. And then after that, everybody started to talk about frequency, relationship, self-worth, heart, quantum leaping. Say, what I have signed up for? What is this? For me, it was like the first time hearing all of this stuff. And it was very, I remember like, I was very skeptical, but it wasn't skepticism. And this is the lesson, everyone, for who is listening. When you get triggered, don't blame that person. Just look into yourself. Why I'm triggered right now? Why this pissed me off? Why I am skeptical? Because I remember that for me was like, okay, wait a minute. I'm reacting with anger right now. Because of course, I didn't want to see my relationship. I didn't want to admit to myself that it was true. The problem was my relationship. And I had to do some work there, which was connected with myself and with my self-worth and all the things. So instead of be skeptical sometimes, just stop it for a moment and just ask yourself, why I'm skeptical? What if they are right? And that's what I say to myself. What if they are right? It is true, actually, that I invested $200K in strategy, sales, and marketing, and my business is stuck there. So it's actually true.
What they're saying, yeah.
It's really happening. And they say that my relationship is actually the problem. And then I ask myself, am I actually happy in my relationship? Not really. Does my relationship, actually my partner, support my business, support me really deeply? Not really. How my bank account look like? Not like I want it. Like I started to put together the pieces. Well, of course, like one step at a time, not everything in one day. And I realized that an entire new world did open up to me. A world that I had no idea that exists. And then from that call, I did show up for 12 weeks in a row with a completely different attitude. I say, okay, let me go all in. Let me ask a question. Like, let me learn from these people. And I gained like all the information that I could potentially gain. And that's when my life completely changed in 1 year. I did break up straight away after the mastermind. Basically, mastermind ended. I think the day after or 2 days after, I almost like I did break up, ended my relationship. And that's when everything started. And I did start to do the frequency work to attract the men that I actually wanted. And I remember people in there, like I did create, like this was like a sort of exercise that they did take me through how your ideal relationship look like and focus on the feeling. How do you want to feel with the partner? And I started to write, I want to feel like this. You need to be like involved in coaching. You need to be passionate. Long hair. You need to be passionate. Speak English.
Very specific.
You need to be passionate about what I do. I want to do business with him. I want to share my passion with him. I remember, I had like a long list of things and I say in the mastermind, I might ask too much. And people say, no, you ask too little. Go harder because the man that you're calling in is out there right now. And it's available to you right now. And I say, and then I was looking in my house and I was with my ex-partner, which was the opposite of this man. And the reality didn't match. The reality that I was calling in, it didn't match the reality I was living in that moment. But Mark was already in my life. So they were right. it was already available to me in that moment. But because I was doing the frequency work, I was shifting frequency to make sure that Mark will feel attracted to me. But I didn't know. I didn't know.
It was Mark, though.
I had no idea who this person was.
Yeah.
It was just because you never focus when you're doing this work, you never focus on the shape or, I don't know, like it's not about the look, it's about the feeling. Of course, I had a few qualities that I wanted. A tall guy with long hair and sexy man, speaking English, no Italian, and he has to be like involved in the coaching and personal development and spiritual side of everything. So that was kind of mandatory. But rather than that,
is the feeling.
Yeah. I was not crazy, but chasing.
Craving? Not craving.
No, I was craving, like kind of like I was focusing on, this is how I want to feel in my new relationship. And it has to be like that. And Mark actually is giving me like 10x more of what he did ask for.
Interesting. I want to talk as well one thing.
Yeah.
Because you went through this process and you shared it with me this morning.
Yeah.
What happened with your meditation, with the Dr. Joe Dispenza meditation?
Oh, I want to share this because this is funny.
Yeah.
So basically when I was in this mastermind, this guy there shared this meditation done by the famous Joe Dispenza, which is talk about quantum living frequency all the time. And it was like just 50 minutes per day. And say this guy, and I'm not into meditation, and now I'm basically spend time in silence more than anything else. So he say like to do this meditation every day for at least a month. And it just walking you through a visualization, basically, where you are focusing on the feeling that you want to experience with money, business, relationship. And for me, it was relationship. I was focusing on relationship because everybody in the mastermind told me to put together my relationship first, my environment first, clean up the environment, and then start to match the frequency of the things that I wanted to call in, starting from my relationship, which is the core of your wealth, because wealth is love. Okay, is not money. Money is nothing. It's just the tools. Okay, it's not wealth. So from there, I could start building my wealth, with the money, expansion, and all the things. And I was doing this meditation, and I saw myself in a plane with a tall guy, long hair, and three kids. And I remember I said, Joe Dispenza, what the hell? Like, this is not me, because I don't want three kids. So this is something wrong here in this meditation. Something is not working.
I didn't choose this.
And I didn't choose this. And then it was Mark. It was Mark with his three daughters. And so what I saw, everyone, it wasn't a dream. It was a piece of my timeline. Because months later, I did met this guy. I mean, back then, I actually didn't know you.
Yeah.
Yet.
This is before you.
This is before I met him. So basically, I started to show already part of my timeline already.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's what Dispenza does, show you through that meditation, show you how to connect with something that already did happen. And then you match the frequency of that, so you get there faster.
Yeah.
And that's how everything started.
It's really
basically that's how our love started, because after that we connected.
Yeah. And that was a connection that was far beyond any sort of connection that I've ever felt in my life. Like where Sarah actually went to Italy, and I was in Perth, opposite sides of the world.
Pissed off with
a couple of days in, and then she messaged me and said, "Hang on a second, like, do you feel like?" And this is very interesting to share as well, like, because when Sarah first reached out to me, messaged me when she was on the other side of the world, she was going off the feeling, like what she refers to as the spleen. Because if you get into human design, Sarah is a projector, and her authority is the splenic authority, meaning that her spleen speaks to her, and it's like your intuition, like your gut voice, like that God's voice. And for Sarah, it's the spleen, and she said that her spleen was talking to her and said, reach out to Mark, send a message.
Didn't make any sense.
Yeah, and that's what you did on the beach. 3 days, like leaving Perth, saying, I'm never going to go back. Perth is too small for me. I'm this big woman. I deserve this big space. Perth is too small. I'm going to leave. I'm never coming back. And then boom, 3 days later, you're on the beach, and then your spleen told you, message Mark. And you had no idea at that time I was in an open relationship.
And that's the thing, like Mark says something very important. Like, so we're jumping here between our story and the quantum leap, how it works. I did something in that time that was not ordinary. I did something big, which was connecting and contacting this man that I knew at that time that he was married. So it was like kind of crazy in my mind, because I said, really, like, what am I doing here? Like, doesn't make any sense. I'm contacting, I know him, I already know him, but I felt that to send that message, and I follow my instinct, right? And that's when the quantum leap happen in your life, when you're doing things that are different, when you're doing something that you never done it before. And I never done anything like that before, and I will never probably have done it if I were using my mind. Of course, because if I was thinking about like the situation, I'm just in Italy, arrived for 4 months, just break up 1 month ago. I know him, he was my client, and he's married. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So if I was listening to my mind, Mark and I will never start anything, but I did something out of the ordinary. I did something risky. I took a risk that day, because he potentially could have said, Sarah, sorry, but what are you doing? You know, but he didn't. And he said, yes, of course, there is a connection between us. And I already started an open relationship, so we can actually connect.
Which I feel like that would have been the only way that I could have actually had that connection, to how I allowed myself if I was in that scenario. So coming back to the start of the year and going through the open relationship in 2024, and like being in so much pain and just against my values, my beliefs, what I want, you know, in a marriage, in my life, and then just surrendering to, this is the process, this is life unfolding. That had to be the scenario to play out in order for me to ask, you know, the universe, God, like, I want to meet someone on the mental, physical, emotional, spiritual level. You know, I'm worthy of love that I crave. And from that's how I had this connection with Sarah. And then that experience led us to just being in contact with each other every day for 4 months.
Without seeing each other.
Yeah. While she's on the other side of the country, Sarah started to tap in to feel how I was feeling. And that's like a superpower that is beyond words. Like right now, even there's moments where she expresses the thoughts that I'm experiencing or have not yet experienced, but I can feel it inside of myself and I catch up to it. So Sarah knows there is no secrets anymore, because Sarah literally knows what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling. You know, it's
a connection that I never experienced in my life. It's a sort of familiarity with Mark. Like the first time that I saw him in person after 4 months apart, it was like, you know, girls. I think girls can get me here. I saw this man drive in a car, and that was the first time like we were actually dating after 4 months be apart. I saw him, he smiled, he arrived, and I said, oh my God, I'm in trouble. This is already game over. Yeah. And then we kissed, and you know, that first kiss was just like, okay, I know it's him. He's the one.
And you even knew that before that.
And, you know, the context, yeah, I knew it already, the 27th of June, when I was in Italy. It's the experience I had with Mark along the 4 months apart, and also after that, it was everything that I was experiencing with him. It was exactly the feeling that I was calling in with my frequency work. The context that we were in, it was completely not what I wanted. But this is the key of the quantum leap. You are not taking care of the how. The how is by taking care from someone else. God, universe, spirit, guide, you call them whatever you like, that's on you. But something else taking care of the rest. But the context, it was not like I imagined it at all, because I wasn't calling in, honestly, and Mark knows this, a man with 3 kids. I'm sorry. No. That's not what I wanted. That's not what I was calling in. But I remember in the mastermind, everybody was telling me, don't focus on those things. Focus on the feeling. Focus on the feeling. And that's when I found this man. And I don't know, it's pure magic.
Yeah, it really is.
It's the most beautiful, connection that I have experienced in my entire life. It's I don't know. I don't even know how to describe it. I don't know. I'm sure you can feel it.
I was thinking I was going to say
you can feel the energy. You can feel the harmony, because there is harmony. It's like two people getting along together in complete harmony.
Oh, and there was chaos throughout that too.
Yeah, but like we don't force anything.
Yeah.
It all flow perfectly, and we don't have to even think about it. You know, there is so many couples that, oh, what can we do better? What it is that you need? How can I be my best partner? We don't do that shit because it's not required.
Yeah, all the love languages are fulfilled when you find someone that just sees you for who you are and
exactly
and is turned on from you being you. I think that's a big thing to emphasize as well, because like when I'm not me, when I'm people pleasing, when I'm falling back into the old habits, because this whole journey has been like a lot of chaos throughout this healing as well. Like it's a beautiful conscious relationship that we found ourselves in.
Oh yeah.
That has also involved me healing from, now I'm going to, it was a chaotic environment before where I wasn't being myself, I was people pleasing, to now finally being myself and feeling safe in a safe environment in this loving relationship has been a lot of healing trauma, and a lot of quantum leaping in that aspect too, as I shift the environment. So it's also that holding space for us, that's what we're so good for each other, holding space and healing through a peaceful, loving environment that has allowed us to feel the way that we feel together. I think something to emphasize.
But how do we got here? You might wonder, nice, but okay. And like there is so much that we really have so much to share, and it has to be done. We're still figuring out how to do this, in which way we want to do it, because every moment in our relationship there is a lesson there for people, and there is like teaching as well that we can do around that to helping you experience exactly the same. But something that I think we should talk about it right now is how do we get to this point of you and I speaking in this microphone and actually deciding to start a business together, which is, by the way, was in August this year. I did a couple of stories in my social media, which is I deleted my old account, so we can't find them anymore, unfortunately, where I basically say in those stories that I was doing the frequency work to attract these men and do business together in 2025.
Which is what's happening now. In January 2025.
So already months ago, we already started, because we started create from day one. Mark and I started to really create together straight away. The first day, it all begins straight away. We didn't even wait to do things together and to create for our purpose together. So
that's how Unfiltered sort of came very naturally.
Very naturally.
Yeah, and I feel it's like a lot of that journey coming together, the last part of last year, was a lot of letting go. So like letting go of the past relationships, letting go of environments that were, toxic, because, me separating as well from that ex-partner, one of my best friends at the time just completely, had a go at me, completely like just, blamed me for the whole scenario. And that's when I had to set up boundaries of like, I'm going to have to block this person too, and really start to look at your environment. Yeah. You've gone through the same experience, Sarah, for your experience. So look at your environment and really focus on, as you start to really tune into yourself and love yourself, like who are the ones that are supporting you and supporting you through that journey. So a lot of letting go of that old environment, it could be toxic, could be really destructive for who you're calling in. As you start to be yourself, you start to realize like you're going to trigger some people because you're finally expressing your truth.
Good.
And before, that's a good sign. Like
that's a good, when everybody's like you, is not a good sign. Yeah. It's not healthy.
Because you're people pleasing.
You're
not being yourself, right? And that's okay that you start to trigger people and realize that it's not your responsibility for how people are going to respond to you. As long as you're a good person, acting in good intentions and being your true self, some people aren't going to like you, and that's okay. That's all part of it. But as you start to do that, realize that, then you can call in to your life, what you want around you, the right people, the right environment, and everything. So for us, it was a lot of letting go. It was a lot of stripping away what was not needed.
A lot.
And that was our old identity. That was also our old social media, our old accounts. For Sarah, that was pretty big because it was 6 years worth of business coaching that she let go of. And there was an interesting moment that happened, all these little things leading up to that as well, which is only a week or so ago, I think. You want to speak about that, in that letting go? What happened?
I deleted my entire business. Like for one day, I lost everything. My courses, my emailing list, everything has been restored, thankfully. But I had the moment that, where I lost everything, and I just felt it in the moment of a little bit of panicking, because of course I was thinking about my client. I have clients and people inside my courses. They are paying for it or did pay for it. And then at the same time, when I got it back, I didn't want it back. And I say to Mark, interesting feeling that I'm experiencing right now. I don't want it back. And the reason why, because I love my business and I loved everything that I experienced over the past 6 years. Has been an incredible journey, but that's not what I'm here for. And that was not in completely alignment with the person that I really am. And from now on, I'm stepping more into that. And I'm feeling like to telling you that the story, why we're bringing this up, that don't be too attached to anything that you are creating for yourself. Like every identity that you create, it doesn't have to be like that forever. It's not because you have been a marketing business coach for 6 years, you're going to be a marketing and business coach forever. You know, you can be something else because you're evolving, you're changing, you're growing, and you can become the next version of you, which of course has the other side. That if we flip the side of the coin, it might look like also losing people, losing client. I lost a client, of course, during this transition. So many things did happen during this transition, and during Mark and I becoming a partner, you know, there is always also the other side of everything. But, you know, when you're becoming who you truly are, you also will start to attract the people that really are connected with you. And that's when everything starts to, feel easy and effortless as well. So don't be attached to it. Like even with my Instagram account, it was big, but at the same time, it's not me anymore. I can't keep that. Keep going with that identity, because that's not the identity that I am already stepping into. I'm already the person. Even if there are a few things still in my life right now that doesn't look like that reality I'm calling in, I know it's coming. I know it's here. I can see it. And yeah, I started channeling as well.
Yeah, you did. And something I want to emphasize as well, Sarah, that process, like where I seen you, like where you freaked out and the account deleted, like the only thing that you cared about was your clients.
Yeah,
like that was the only thing that came to you, was like, oh fuck, I need to like recreate these, these courses because I still have clients that are in this, right? And that's all you're thinking about the whole time. And then the next day you got given those courses back, right? But within that period of time, what we did, like we started to create
our business
Unfiltered. Like
in
we started
24 hours.
Yeah, we created the brand. We launched the podcast. We're about to launch that. This is going to be the first episode, really, that we're officially launching. And all of that had to happen. Events, live events. Yeah, it had to happen through that experience of you deleting your website, thinking that's all you were, but you deleted the whole thing, your whole business. And that was the pivotal moment for us to take action, for us to step into alignment and actually take action. And then the next day we got it back, you know? So it's like, don't freak out in the moment. Of course you freak out, you're human, but just come back to who are you? You know, that 7-figure version, that big picture reality that you're calling in. How would they respond in that moment? Which is what you did. You calm and you took care of it. Okay, I need to serve for clients. This is what I need to do, you know? And I did tell you, like, it's going to be okay. It's going to come back. The next day it came back. And from that, we actually took action in alignment with that 7-figure version and started to realize like it was actually happening for us.
Not to us.
Yeah. And that's a big shift that you can have when you have that mindset shift of actually everything is happening for you.
And that's what the frequency work, everyone is all about it. And that's what Mark and I decided to do Unfiltered and bring this, which is gonna be our main teaching. It's just really stepping into your power. It's really choosing yourself. And when you're doing that, you will realize that everything that you want, it's already here. And still sometimes for us, it feels weird, because I did an interesting experience a few days ago. I basically did my first timeline collapsing session with Mia, my energy coach, which I, really couldn't do anything without her. Like, it's the reason why we're here right now. It's thanks for her and the work that she did. I'll pass every single day for the past 6 months. And I did my first time collapsing session, which is I'm still recovering from it.
What is that? What's a time collapsing session?
So
people like think about it as my 6-year-old daughter. How can people understand what you're talking about? What's a simple way of saying that?
I'm just know that people that are listening to this are gonna know this.
Yeah.
Time collapsing is basically you want to materialize the reality that you calling in right now. For example, a relationship, like I was doing with Mark, like I want to find this relationship and this man. You basically, there is a way to collapse that and have this relationship faster. So I potentially could have him so much faster if I knew how to do this at that time. But I had to go through the journey to learn because you were already in my life.
Yeah, exactly.
So if I knew how to do the time collapsing, we were already together probably 1 year ago.
Yeah.
You know?
Which is what quantum physics talks about, like multiple versions, realities coexist simultaneously. So everything that you're calling in is already happening now.
It's already happening now.
Available to you now.
And that's why I bring this on, because through this timeline collapsing session, I saw 3 timelines. I saw my old timeline, like what my life will look like if I will make a different choice 10 years ago. The timeline we are now, I am now, and a timeline when I am 45. Okay, which is connected with the one that I am now. And basically, by doing this exercise, you just talk with yourself. It's true. Like, I know that it seems weird because it was weird for me too, but quantum leap, frequency, timeline is just you talking with yourself. It's just you tapping into your own intuition, because you know what to do already. You know the answer. You know what it is, the next step. You just have to tap into that gift that is already within yourself. But don't worry, you don't have to do it. We can do it for you.
We'll teach you how to do it.
You don't have to do it. At the same time, it's fascinating because everything that you want, and that's why I bring this up, it's here now. The only reason you don't see it is because you are not matching the frequency. You are in a different radio frequency right now. It's like me and Mark. We were not attracted to each other, and we will not even thinking about it be coupled in that time because our frequency, it was not matching. It was dealing with his own stuff. I was dealing with my own stuff. It was not the frequency, this frequency, but it was there already. So everything that you desire is available to you right now. It's just about shifting few things, and boom.
Boom.
It really boom. it really does boom.
Yeah.
For real.
Some things that has boomed for me, like since being with Sara, is like her ability, and I think this coincides as well with her human design of being a projector. Projectors can see, like they can create plans and steps and see how you're using your energy and how you can best use your energy more efficiently to have the life that you desire. And for me, like moving through, I was an electrician. And I was working, I got it to a stage where I was working 3 days a week, which was beautiful because I'm a manifester and I don't have endless amounts of energy, and I don't want to do that, forever. I don't actually want to do that at all. And what Sarah seen in me was like, oh, you can do this other job where you work 1 week a month and you're earning the same amount of money that you could be working every week, for a month. And then doing that's freed me up. So now I can have more time like this, focusing on Unfiltered, focusing on our relationship, being more present with my girls, not being distracted from being out of alignment, working a job that I don't want to do. Like, how many people are doing that? How many people are going to work, working for someone else? Oh, yeah. So that sort of work is basically you stepping into alignment with your soul, with what you want to do in this life. Otherwise, if we don't do this, the flip side of it is you're going to live a life that's not true to you.
Exactly.
And you're going to get to a stage where whatever happens, it could be a relationship 20, 30 years down the line where you're like, I was not really in love with that person. I was not really feeling my needs met naturally. Or you could end up in a job that you hate, but you keep doing it because you have to pay the bills in order to survive, in order to keep it going, right? And the top regret of the dying is I lived a life not true to myself. That's one thing that they regret. That's the number one regret of the dying is I lived a life not true to myself. I lived a life of what other people wanted for me. And that is what we're talking about through this whole quantum leaping is actually choosing you, choosing that version of you that you want to step into, that you have the power to decide, because life can be effortless if you choose it to be.
And just relax.
Yeah.
Really.
And not take it so seriously, huh?
Just relax, because everything that is meant for you, you will never be able to miss it unless you decide to be blind, unless you decide to don't listen to your voice, the little voice inside. Like if you don't have the fire right now to do the things in your business, to wake up and kiss your man or your woman, like it doesn't matter, the preference, the sexual preference. If you don't have that fire, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? you like maybe telling yourself that it's right to feel. That's what I did. Everyone, that's what we did. And we're going to be very unfiltered along all of these podcasts because we want you to bring you behind the scene, which I know that many entrepreneurs doesn't do that online. They're just selling you and showing you the bright side of it, which there is a bright side of it, but there is also an also bright side of it, which is kind of not nice sometimes. But that's what we did. We try to fix things, especially this one. Try to fix a relationship, try to fix people, try to fix everything. No. If you don't wake up with the fire, something is off. Something is really, it's not working in your life. And if it happen one time, that's okay. It might happen, that day, maybe, you are low vibration, which is okay. But if it start to happen every day, it's a pattern, you look into your wife or your husband, oh my goodness.
Or your business.
Oh, it's here.
Yeah.
Can you just go away? Can you take time off? I don't want to be with you. Things like that. If it always feels like that, and in your business, you start working with clients and it feels like, I have this client call, I have to do the podcast, I have to create, it's off. It's not working. Something is out of alignment. The fire need to be there, because through the fire is when your heart is lighted up, and that's when you quantum leaping, and that's when everything happen in your life, because you get to have happiness. You get to have everything that you desire. It's available to you. You deserve that, but you are not choosing that. That's why it's not happening. That's why you feel off. That's why you feel unhappy. That's why abundance is not coming. That's why marriage is not coming, whatever. It's because you are not choosing it. But it's available, because that's, sometimes people feel like, I can't be happy every day. And that's not what it is. Frequency is not about being happy every day. It's not about being, let's go.
It's not a fake it till you make it.
It's not high vibe thing. Frequency,
positivity.
It's a state. It's a choice. It's a being.
Yeah.
That's what it is. It's you choosing to live your life completely different from the metrics. And there are people already, millionaire people, they're already doing this work, and they are extremely successful because they're just doing frequency work. Those millionaire people in my mastermind, we did not even talk about strategy for one time.
Isn't that interesting?
We just did talk about all of those things. So their millions is the reflection of the internal work. Is not strategy.
The strategy is the inner work.
Exactly. The strategy is just the 20% of the entire equation. The rest, it's you doing this work. And it took me 6 years to finally get at this and start to actually do it. And you can apply this in every area of your life. Health, romantic relationship, business, money, really, literally every area of your life. And we are here to really show you this, right? That it's possible for you too.
Yeah.
And you can you can get it. You can have it. But you have to decide it that's what you want first. We were talking about this just today. What is that we actually want? Can we be more clear? Because there is a little bit of confusion here. And if we are not clear, it's not coming, because how it can come if we are confused in the first place.
If you're going to a destination and you're typing in the maps, it could be here, here, or here, what's going to show up? You're going to get taken to 3 different scenarios.
Exactly.
And it's going to reflect back as like the universe is like, you're not clear.
Exactly.
But as you bring that clarity in, you bring that precision in, you start to attract whatever it is that you're calling for, because it's you. You're calling for yourself. And you're seeing it back, projected back at you. Yeah.
And then find happiness. Really find a partner, whatever it is, a woman or a man, a partner that life it's easy together. Not a partner that makes everything harder. If your partner roll the eyes when you're talking about your creation or the idea that you have, it's not the right partner for you. Okay?
And you can't coach yourself through that.
You can't coach yourself through. Sometimes you are not compatible with someone, and we have to learn to let that go. And you're also evolving, you're growing, you change. It's pretty normal to don't find attractive maybe someone that was connected with your old, like Mark. I'm not attracted to Mark when he's going back to the old pattern.
Yeah.
I feel like this is not the man.
It's actually repelling.
This is not the man that I have been falling in love with.
Yeah.
Who is this?
Yeah.
And it's the same for him. It's the same for me. When I'm not myself, he's not attracted to me. So there are people out there that actually find you attractive in a way that you are. Without acting, without pretending, without dimming your light. If you're dimming your light, for example, to make your partner comfortable, is not the right partner for you. It is not. It is simply not. If your client cannot stand your power, they are not the right client for you. So I can keep going forever.
You can keep going forever. Something else as well I want to address, like it does take a conscious relationship. Like it takes two people coming together with the same, same intention, I feel. So, because that can shift too. You can be in a relationship with someone, but you both have to want to grow.
Exactly.
You both have to want to grow together, and focusing on your inner work, yourself, that then allows that relationship and that environment to flourish and for you to experience that growth. Because that is possible and that is available too. It just takes two people coming together with that intention. I feel that's important because it's not all just about you're in the wrong relationship, you're fucked,
No.
Like it's also like you can have that as well.
Absolutely.
But it has to be two people with the same intention coming together to work on their own stuff. Because what we're doing here is we're disentangling the old identities, the old programming, the old subconscious beliefs. You're taking away all of that. And that takes a conscious effort. It's not just going to happen by you just sitting and meditating. It's not just going to happen by you continually doing, your normal 9 to 5, whatever it is. No. It's going to take a conscious intention and awareness to let go of all that stuff. But it's possible.
Yeah, you can have it all.
You really can.
Business, success, incredible opportunity, the relationship of your dreams, the body of your dreams. You can absolutely have it all. It's here available for you. Mm-hmm. I was thinking that we might should give like a little bit of a hint of what to expect this year from Unfiltered.
That's a good idea.
You want to do that?
And we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start there. So what you're going to expect is very raw, very unfiltered, very unhinged versions of humans going through life and expressing their experience. And on the flip side as well is how you can actually shift your life. And if you want to choose that in relationships, in business, this is going to happen through us expressing ourselves. There's going to be live events. Mm-hmm. Like this year, I feel is the year of the live event.
Yeah, we're gonna do a lot of live event, webinar. Yep. Also, we have already opened our one-to-one coaching, which is our program called Quantum You, which is a private container when you get coached by me and Mark and Mia, our energy coach Ila. And then a mastermind coming along 2025 and our video course.
Yeah, and that's coming very, very soon.
And my courses are still available. I just created a particular package called Empire Builder Bundle.
Yeah.
And you can buy my marketing and business courses, which are incredible and still valid for you. Still in alignment as well. Still in alignment for you to grow your online business and earn a multi-six-figure in your business.
Because that is important too. Like it is still 20%.
The 20% is important. So if you're missing the 20%, like the strategy of it, this bundle is perfect for you. And that's what to expect from us.
Yeah, it's perfect for you, but it's not going to work if you don't do the inner work.
Nah. So it will be nice if you do both.
Yeah.
Like the Empire Builder Bundle and working with Mark and Sarah.
Yeah.
To quantum leap everything.
And that's what we're doing, expanding your consciousness back into love. So I think that's a beautiful start, a beautiful expression of what we're about and what's coming.
It's very simple. Like we are not really, it's very flowing and very simple. Like we might gonna do new things for sure along the year. But this is basically what you can expect from us. And we're going to have amazing guests in this podcast.
Absolutely.
Be ready because incredible people coming along. I'm trying to bring on that guy in the mastermind and see if I can have him. It will be like incredibly powerful to have him like there because he was like the person that really helped me to break through for real.
That would be amazing.
And changing my life in 1 year because Mark and I changed our life in 1 year and you can do it faster with our help.
And it's all inside.
Okay.
And thank you very much for being here.
We love you immensely already.
Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, 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 ciao. Woo! Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.